Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to this session where I'm trying to explain you the steps in order to create this tailstock clamp. I remember one of the students has messaged me on the group saying that this is one of the difficult shapes, but rather I will tell you this is one of the easiest shapes to make. Sometimes looking at the shape, you should not make a conclusion that since it looks a bit odd, it's difficult to make. Okay, now this is a tailstock clamp. One thing, whenever you are creating a model in Solidworks, basically the thing is where to start from. Now Solidworks enables you to draw either from the front or the top or the right hand side. Now one thing we need to make sure is when you are looking from the right hand side, we have a curved surface. Okay, this surface is curved, and we are drawing a projection. This curved line becomes a straight line, which is not an actual representation of the solid. In the same way, when I am looking from the top, then again I have a curved surface here, here and here and here. So I cannot draw it as a straight line in the top view for this particular curved surface. Yes, its projection in a 2D drawing will be a straight line, but as a solid it has to be curved. Let's go to the third possible direction, which is the front direction. Now looking from this particular direction, when I look in this direction, I am looking perpendicular to this surface. Complete surface is perpendicular to me, and this is a curved line, or this is a curve which looks like a curve in the front view. It does not get projected. So the best thing to do is to start from a direction in which, number one, you can create most of the features as a sketch so that you can extrude it. Okay. The second thing is, when you are looking onto the surface, you should look perpendicular. Okay, like for example, this curve looks like a curve, but in the other direction the curve becomes a straight line. So we start from here. So what I am going to do is, I am going to create this front view which is looking like this, and then I will extrude it. Okay, so I am going to get the base block. Then the next thing I should be doing is, I should be making this rectangular slot, or I should cut this bigger slot. After cutting the bigger slot, then I should be making this and these two rectangular slots, and that will complete my object. Okay, to begin with, let us just select the front view or the front plane from the design tree. Okay, and start a sketch. Right. One more thing I would like to tell you is, if I look into this front view from this particular direction, I can see that if I divide this object, or if I divide this sketch into two halves, then the left half and the right half is equal. Other thing, the radius of this curve is 2 into radius 29. Now as I said, 2 followed by an x means there are two sides with the same thing. So the radius r is 29, but when the radius r is 29, the diameter becomes 58. But if you look at the height of this object, the height of the object is only 38. That means it's not part of a circle, it's a curve. That means you cannot draw this. The center will not be at 19, because if you take that, or if you take the center at 29, then you're going to exceed the size, which is 38, and your circle will become 58. So we need to do a curve. I'll tell you how to do that. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is, when I'm looking from this particular direction, since the left and the right half is the same, when I draw a line here, I will draw half apart and then I will mirror it so that the object is fine and I do not have to repeat the left and the right side. But as such, you can always draw this full front view that you see, and then you can extrude it. It's up to you. So I'll go to the line command. Okay, and then I will start my object at the origin, draw the line, straight line which is there, go up and go towards my right hand side. Now from here there is a curve. In SolidWorks you have an option that you can shift between a line and a curve, right? At present I am drawing a line because you can see the cursor is showing a line, but if I go here and then just hover the cursor over this particular point, it becomes a curve. Okay, just hover the cursor over this particular point, it becomes a curve there. Okay, and you can right click and then say end chain or whatever. So what I am going to do is, okay, I have done something wrong, so let me just get rid of this. And okay, let me go back. Right, so I'll draw the line. As I said, just turn your mouse over that particular point and then you will get the curve. Okay, and I will draw this up to the center point. Okay, let me end this command. Then I go to line and I'll draw a center line. So I will draw the center line so that I can then now mirror the entity. So go to mirror, select the entities to mirror. You can just create a window to select all the lines there. That is the entities to mirror. Then go and click into mirror about and select the center line. This is done. Okay, I have got my shape with all the relations defined, so there is no need for me to worry. Now let me give the dimensions. The dimension from this end to this end is 105. So I go to smart dimensions, I take this one and I will create this as 105. Okay, then what is the dimension here? This cut is 11. So I'm just going to measure this one and I will give this to be 11. Remember, because it's a symmetrical shape, it changes the side, or it changes the size on both the sides. Okay, and the height of this cut is 9. So let me just click on this and then I will give this as 9. Right? Please watch that as I am doing it, then it is basically trying to dimension it on both the sides. Okay, now once I do that, then what is the radius of this? The radius of this is 29. So let me click on the curve. It will automatically select the center. So you can see there the center is somewhere away for this particular curve. So let me make this as 29. That is done. What is the height of this? 38. So as measured from this line to this line, this should be 38. Done. My object is done. That's it. I don't have to do anything else. Okay, it is fully defined. You can see here it says fully defined. The whole object has turned black, and that is what I have. Now if you see this particular thing, the extrusion is 58. Okay, 58 in that particular direction. So I will go to features, I will say extrude boss or base, then I will give the direction as 58. Now you can do 58 in one particular direction, that means it's going to extend 58 in this one direction. Or if you want to, you can select various options here. If I say mid plane, then it will do 29 on one side and 29 on the other side of it. The same thing you can see here. If I say mid plane, 29 it has extended in one direction, 29 it has extended in the other direction. So you can do anyways. Now I have my object. Okay, let me click this and then drop it off in some center, and I will zoom only this particular part so that I can see this, but the other thing has gone. Let me bring this back. Okay, adjust it to the screen. Let me put this to okay, so the extrusion has gone, so I'll go back. I'll take 58 mid plane. I'm going to get this. Okay, alright. Now what is the thing to be done? The thing that to be done now is I need to make this cut which is there here. So if I look at this particular picture here, I need to make this rectangular cut. You might say this is straight up to here and this is curved. Doesn't matter, as long as the depth is given, it will cut on either side of it, or it will cut up to that particular depth. So let me select this surface, and I will go and just say normal 2 so that I see the view in the normal direction. Okay, then I'll go to sketch. I'll take a rectangle. I will start a rectangle. Don't start the rectangle there because we need to make a cut up to here. So I will make a rectangle here and and end up to that particular point. Select it to get rid of this. We know this particular rectangle, if you see, what is the width of this? This is 11 from this side, 11 from this side. So in between total is 58. So if you take out 22 from 58, what are you going to get? Or there is no need to calculate, as I keep telling you. I can always give dimension from this end. This to this should be 11, and this to this is 11. Right, the reason I have done from this particular point is because this is a curve, so I cannot take this as a reference. So 11 and 11, since I have started on the point there and ended on the point on the line here, this has already fixed itself over this particular thing, so there is nothing else to be done. Let me shift back to my 3D view so that I know. See, now if you see, the rectangle is not made a curve, it is made as a straight surface, but it doesn't really matter to you. So go to features, say extrude cut, and then give the depth as 11. Okay, give the depth as 11 and you say okay to that. My cut is made. Okay, now the object is made there. Okay, now let me bring this a little bit closer and then zoom this thing. Okay, and I'll push this back. Sorry. Okay, I'll push it back here. Now I need to make this slot. Can you let me just have a look at that? This slot, if you see, this is a sort of a rectangle which is curved on both the sides. Okay, now there might be confusion. There is something called 4XR. See, whenever there is the letter X between any two things, that basically means there are so many instances of it, or there are so many types of it. So this 4 times R means there are 4 rounds like this whose radius is R. So where are the 4 rounds? One here, second here, third here, and fourth here. Okay, so these are the 4 rounds. Now then what happens is, what is the radius of that? So if I go and have a look over there, then I can see that this is given 2x13. That means the width of this 2 times 2x, that means there are 2 things, one is this one, another is this one, whose width, the dimension from here to here, is equal to 13. Now if I say dimension from this end to this end is 13, that means dimension from here to here is also 13, which is nothing but the diameter of this curve. Okay, now how to create it? Maybe you might say, I will create this rectangle in the middle, then I will draw a circle, and I will draw a circle here of radius 6.5 or diameter 13, then cut the circle. But I will say there is no need to do that. What we can do is, if we go back to this one, so let me just zoom in. I have lost my thing, so I'll extrude cut this to 11 because I think I pressed undo tab. Okay, now in order to make the slot, if you go to the sketch here, in the sketch there is something called straight slot there. If you can see at the top where my cursor is, there is a straight slot, and in the straight slot you already have a ready-made straight slot with the corners which are rounded. So the first thing I am going to do now is, I know the things, so I will zoom in. I know this particular thing is basically the diameter is 13, and what about the length? See, from the center of this to the center of this is 19, and the center of this from one of the end is 14. So please remember this is 14 from here, one center, then from center to center is 19, and this is 13. Okay, so let me just go back and I'll zoom this particular part. I'll select this, I will say normal 2 so that changes towards me. Then I'll go to the rectangular slot, I'll create one slot. Okay, I'll create a slot there. Just the first you need to draw the straight line. Okay, then that is what is the center line it is taking. Then you move it either side, it is going to make a slot. Okay, shall I show you once more? Let's take this go to straight slot, then first draw a line. This line is the center line, then you move it on either side, you are going to get your slot. Okay, right, I'll say okay here. I'm just going to draw one, the other one I'm going to mirror it. So I am going to go here now. Dimension, I know this dimension should be 13 divided by 2. And in Solidworks, I have seen you people using calculators and all, but when you are giving the dimension, you can use your all mathematical equations, plus, minus, multiplication, division, whatever exactly, you can actually do it here. So I have written 13 by 2, so it will automatically take it as 6.5. Now then the radius is given there. Then I know this, when this is the radius, this dimension is fixed. Okay, alright, next, as I said, the dimension from the end to this center is 14, and dimension from there to there, the smart dimension from this point to this point is how much? 19. Okay, so the slot is already made. Now my thing has turned black because when I was drawing a center line, I have drawn it in line with the origin. So this point and this center line, center point here, they have been made coincident. Okay, but in case even after giving these dimensions, if your figure looks blue, then that means that the center line and this center are not fixed. So what you need to do at that point is just go there, say add relation, select the center point, okay, and select this point and simply say that this is horizontal. If I try to do that, it will or collinear you can say, so there is no need for me to do this, right? So just make sure that this and this point are, you can define that as considered, or just select, you go to your add relations, select this point and select the center point, and then you can say they are coincident, then they will become coincident. If I try to do that here, it will give me that I am actually over defining it, so I am not going to do that. I will say undo here because that is already defined. Okay, now once this is done, as I said, I did it only once because now I can draw a center line, a simple center line somewhere. Need not be necessary that it has to be full, just a part of the center line is sufficient. Then I will go to mirror entities. Where is my mirror entities? Here, mirror entities. I will select this picture or this sketch as my entities to mirror, which is nothing but the slot 1. Then I will click on mirror about. I'll select the center line, so I have got the mirror on the other side. Now let me go back to my 3D picture, and so that I know what is the depth. This basically looks, no depth is given, so you need to assume that it is from the top, from that end completely throughout. So I go to features, extrude cut, say through all, and done. Okay, so my object is now made. Okay, what is remaining? You can say that, if you look at this particular picture here, it says rounds are radius 3. Where are the rounds? Maybe you don't see it there, but you can see here that this surface is smooth. All other lines are perfectly straight lines. So this particular surface is round. So this one and the one on the other side, this should be filleted or rounded by a radius of 3 millimeters. So I will go to fillet. I'll say fillet. Radius is 3 millimeters. Okay, then I can always keep my full preview on, so that when I do it, it will basically show me how it is going to be done, or it will show me a preview. So I'm going to select this one. It automatically selects the whole corner because it is one sketch. So I go to the other side, I'll click on this, and then I am satisfied with my results, so I'll say okay. So this is done. Okay, let me just, so if I look at my things now, everything is done and set. Let me remove this now. Okay, so that I have my full shape on this one. That is my shape. If you don't want these lines to be visible, then you go to this one and then you say display light is shaded. It becomes shaded. And then if you want color, basically if you want color, the thing that you need to do first is you can do feature by feature coloring, but if you just select let me just close this, select the part, because I want to color the whole part. So I will click part in my design tree, then now I'll go to color, and you can color it the way you want. Okay, but since we are mechanical engineers, all our parts, iron and things and all, do not have colors, right? So there's nothing like making things fancy about. You can leave it as it is. When you define the material, it will automatically shade it or color it with the material. That is it. Right, I have gone with explanations, so it has taken this much time. Otherwise, it's about 24 minutes, but when you do it, it will be lesser than that particular amount, right? Okay.